Okay, so today's video, I want to basically pretty much go over some basic stuff for this channel because I'm 37 years old, and throughout my 20s and early 30s, I honestly thought that I knew everything about nutrition because I was a exercise holic, a runaholic, a liftaholic. Going to the gym doesn't make you an expert in nutrition at all. Um, it was just the simple fact that throughout my 20s and early 30s, I had a extreme definition of moderation. How often would I have a soda? Probably a couple times per month. Maybe some ice cream, some tiramisu, my favorite dessert. Maybe once every couple of months. Like, I was not really a big sweets kind of human being throughout my 20s. I was more so a kind of alcoholic tendencies, but the alcohol beverages I consumed were in theory very low carb. I was a big whiskey fan. So the whole point is that if you dive into nutrition, you got to start at the basic level. Otherwise, you're going to be lost, especially when you are healing your body using metabolical therapy, aka low carb diets, a ketogenic diet, a carnivore diet, or even just going low carb in general, which I do want to talk about that because a lot of times people can really reverse chronic diseases without really going all the way super low on their carbs by just really decreasing a lot of carbs that they consume, which means you're giving up for the time being a lot of snack bars, ice cream, definitely pasta, pizza, breads, etc., etc. But if you hear macronutrients, you got to be thinking about the three sources and what they are. Just remember, macro is three sources. So you got carbs, you got protein, and you got fats. But only two out of the three are energy sources. What does that mean? Well, that essentially means that if you increase your carbs and decrease your fat, your body is running on carbs, aka blood sugar. If you decrease your carbs and increase your fats, your body is in a state of ketosis, which means your body is burning fat for fuel, not blood sugar. In the previous video, I talked about how our liver can create carbs. So there's a lot of myths out there, and people get very scared saying, oh, you need X amount of carbs per day, otherwise you will die. That's very true, which is why our liver can create carbs from amino acids, aka protein, and also fat. Our glorious liver, that, in my opinion, is the most important organ in our body. Yes, more important than our kidneys, more important than our heart, because all our heart really is just a muscle, a valve. Our liver, we abuse it so much with chemicals, drugs, alcohol. We really take it for granted, but our liver has the ability to rejuvenate unlike any other organ. It's incredible. Okay, so macronutrients. If you ever hear macronutrients, people are referring to carbs, protein, and fat. Pretty much right here. These examples, honestly, are very skewed because they're based on the American Standard Diet, which this channel is not all about. This channel is a carnivore dominant channel, but I do like to talk about keto because I don't believe everyone should be a carnivore. You should do what makes sense for you and what is best for you, your blood work, and how you feel and what makes you happy. If being in a standard keto diet makes you happy, more power to you. If you are doing a vegan ketogenic diet, it's a little hard to do, but people can do it. More power to you. Try something, stay consistent, see what it does for you. If you're not getting the results, you got to move on. I started with keto, I moved into ketovore, and I found out that carnivore really, it did a tremendous amount of reversing for my genetic disease, polycystic kidney disease. Okay, so micro. Talked about this a little bit. So micro, whenever you hear micro, think about minerals, B vitamins, minerals such as pretty much sodium, potassium, iron, pretty much on the screen here. Calcium, iron, zinc, potassium, magnesium, iodine is also one taken for granted too. All the B vitamins as well too. It's everything from B1, all your essential minerals and vitamins. Okay, pretty much the stuff within food. If you really think about it, if you eat a piece of steak, obviously you're getting a bunch of minerals as well. You drink a soda that has been utterly stripped of nutritional value, you're not going to be getting any of this stuff. You're just getting sugar and carbs, which sugar and carbs, they decrease the amount of minerals in your body. Yes, a massive amount of sugar can decrease certain B vitamins and also other minerals as well. That's why a lot of people on the standard American diet, when they eat a lot of sugar, they need to increase and supplement their B vitamins along with other vitamins as well. You see a lot of people talking about vitamin C all the time. Vitamin C, vitamin C. Well, if you're eating a lot of sugar, you need to be eating a lot of vitamin C. But if you remove the sugar, the need for vitamin C goes way down. Way down. That's the reason why carnivores don't die of scurvy, is because the need for vitamin C goes down. Plus, vitamin C is also in beef, liver, organs. We'll get to that in other videos, but staying focused, if you hear micro, think of small. And if you hear macro, think of big. So macro, I think of the actual piece of steak itself. Or if you're pretty much not necessarily a carnivore, think of the actual, whatever plant you might be consuming. It could be an avocado. So think about the actual avocado itself. Micro is what is inside that avocado, what is inside that piece of steak. That's the way that I remember it personally when it comes to these things. Now, real quick here, I want to go ahead and show some examples of what macros would look like for someone on the SAD diet, the standard American diet. To be honest, I didn't even really know what the standard American diet was until I went on it for about 2.5 years. My kidneys, my polycystic kidney disease, progressed significantly. My entire adult life, I've really been in a low carb state in a way. Yes, of course, I had pizza, pasta, and ice cream here and there, but in moderation. And the pasta and grains that I was eating, I used to be a marathon-style runner. During the winter months, when I wanted to run maybe 20, 30 miles per week, during the summer, sometimes 30, 40 miles per week. Yes, I would get done running, or before I would go running, like for lunch, I'd have a gigantic pasta meal. Those carbs are being burned off like crazy. But if you're not engaging in that level of physical activity and you are on the standard American diet, like this example right here, as you see, your macro is going to be very skewed. And I use a website called Chronometer. It does have a free version. I'm not sponsored by them whatsoever. It's great for tracking stuff. I highly recommend it, especially if you are starting this and want to track your macros and micros. But what do you notice here straight off the bat? You notice that you have a low level of protein and low level of fat compared to a high amount of carbs. This is very typical for people here in America. What does this do? This creates an abundance of blood sugar, which keeps your blood sugar elevated, your insulin levels high. Polycystic kidney disease will progress quicker if you are living in this direction. It did for me. I have a tremendous amount of data. Going to be uploading even more on this channel as time goes on. But it's very important, because if you are suffering with polycystic kidney disease or any metabolical disease, take a look at what you're consuming. I challenge you, add up all your protein that you eat in a day, all the sugar, the added sugar, the carbs, all the fat, add up the amount of sodium, potassium. This video is primarily macro dominant, but I will be going over micros. But to keep this under 15 minutes, I just wanted to show some examples. So this is the example, the standard American diet. 2.5 years I did this and my disease progressed. Now, a low carb diet could really fluctuate around here. In my entire adult life, I've been really in like a low carb state. Obviously, this is just one example. You could, in a low carb, definition of low carb is anything below like 100 to maybe 150 total carbs. Your fat intake could definitely be lower as well too. But I mean, you're just really eating some maybe non-starchy veggies, maybe some nuts. Sure, you can throw in maybe some potatoes, but I mean, if you're an exercise holic, a lot of that stuff is going to be just going into your going into your workouts. You're not going to have an abundance of energy compared to someone on the American Standard Diet. Now, moving more into a ketogenic kind of diet, this was like my example of when I did keto last year. Very like low carb. It really depends for you as an individual. Don't try to copy me. Learn your body. Some people need to go lower on carbs, but typically on a standard keto diet, your carbs are going to be focused on net carbs, and they're most likely going to be around maybe 30 to 50 net carbs. You're eating a good amount of fiber as well from non-starchy veggies. Could very well be avocados, cauliflower, broccoli, some nuts, some berries, some lettuce, zucchinis, cucumbers, tomatoes. Very, very low carb. No croutons. You can't do croutons. They are carbs. And lastly, carnivore. A couple like small grams of carbs from some spices, but I did this for 5 months, 0 total carnivore. Now pretty much I consume dairy, so heavy cream. Some carnivores, they do consume a lot of dairy. Some will even consume some carbs with spices. It's all about what you can handle. But these are just primarily like some examples that I'm showing. As you see, the main thing about macros are focusing on prioritizing one. And it's really been proven through animal models and now human models, such as myself, that if you prioritize protein and fat and you really lower your carbs significantly into a low carb state, into a ketogenic state, it's going to significantly benefit polycystic kidney disease. Will it benefit other chronic diseases? Oh yeah. That is why there are millions and millions of people that have said, I've reversed my obesity, hypertension, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, thyroid problems. The list goes on and on. Anti-inflammatory benefits significantly. If you go ahead and raise the wrong macro, carbs, if you raise the carbs, you become obese. And then everything goes downhill because you create insulin resistance. You decrease the carbs and raise the fat, you're going to heal your body. So on a closing note, like I said, hopefully this video answers a lot of questions of what macro and micros really are. If you don't believe me on anything that I said, I challenge you to fact check me and Google me. Please question everything. I've questioned many things in the last year and a half now of autophagy, healing my body, and that's how you have to do it. But please do your own research. Once again, see what works for you. I will be making some carnivore guides, some keto guides, how to really get into a ketogenic state. That's going to be uploaded here shortly, momentarily. Otherwise, please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content. All right, take it easy, everyone.